So the difference quotient is just a lot of mathematical calculations. There's actually more letters than numbers, and here's how you do it. This is the formula for the difference quotient right here. F of x plus h minus f of x over h. Now these two parts are pretty simple. It's this part right here that's the hard part. Well, let's just say the longer part. So if I want to find f of x plus h, here is my function, 2x squared plus 1. So what that means is they want you to take out the x here, and they want you to put in x plus h. So instead of 2x squared plus 1, I get 2 times the quantity x plus h squared plus 1. Take out the x, put in x plus h instead. The rest of this is just simplifying what I have here. Whoops. So the first step is to write this in expanded form and then FOIL it out, first, outer, inner, last, which gives me that. Then I'm going to take that 2 that I've been holding on the side, and I'm just going to go ahead and multiply that through. So I get 2 times all that, which gives me this, and don't forget the plus 1. So all of this is this part of my formula, f of x plus h. So notice I have 3 parts, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put them all together on this side of the page. All together, I have 3 components. This is my f of x plus h. Minus is that minus. And then the f of x is my original function. Notice I put parentheses around this because when I subtract, I have to make sure to subtract all the parts. And then everything is divided by h. So here's the first part, f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. 1, 2, 3. Then I subtract here. A lot of parts cancel. 2x squared minus 2x squared, 1 minus 1, which gets me this. And then almost always all I have to do is just factor out an h, which cancels with the h on the bottom, to get my final answer. Now, like I said, this is a formula that we were just creating. And that formula helps you find the slope, or the rate of change, as it's also known, for only this function, 2x squared plus 1. So if I want to find the slope between x value of 2 and x value of 5 on that function, I need only use this formula. X is always going to be x sub 1, so that's 2, so 4 times 2, plus h is just the difference between the two x's, x sub 2 minus x sub 1, so that would be 5 minus 2, which is 3. Solve, and the slope between the points 2 and 5 on that parabola is 14. The final example, again, is just that same process one more time. This is the process of substituting to find f of x plus h. So instead of x cubed, I have x plus h cubed, which is 3 of these written all together. It's actually easier than you think the way that I try to solve this. I'm going to FOIL the first 2 together, and then this is a trinomial times a binomial. All you have to do is multiply the x all the way through, and then multiply the h all the way through, and you'll have 6 terms all down here. So it's actually not so hard to multiply a trinomial times a binomial. It's just kind of like distributing once with the x and then distributing a second time with the h and then adding them all up together. You can see that I had some common terms here, so I added them together to get my final expression, which is f of x plus h. So now that I have that first part of my difference quotient, I can write it here. I'm going to subtract f of x, which is just x cubed, which goes there, and writing the whole thing over h, I get started with actually solving the whole thing to find my difference quotient. So x cubed cancels with x cubed, and then I factor out an h from the numerator so that I can cancel it with the denominator to get my difference quotient there. Then I'm going to use that to solve a problem about slope. Find the rate of change, which is slope, on this function, x cubed, between 0 and 2. Remember, h is the difference between x sub 2 and x sub 1, so 2 minus 0 is 2. So wherever there's an h, I put a 2. And then x is just your x sub 1, so that's going to be 0. This is just an arrow here. So 3 times 0 squared plus 3 times 2 times 0 plus 2 squared gives you 4.